Welcome to E360 TV, the live streaming and on-demand destination for influential voices and enlightened audiences. We offer trending, grassroots, and purpose-driven content across a diverse range of interests. E360 TV is more than just watching programs. We offer the ability to interact with live shows connecting audiences to real, authentic influencers and storytellers while streaming to millions of devices. Real experiences. Raw conversation. One destination for it all. E360 TV.
Hello, hello, hello. I have a question for you. Have you ever felt completely lost? You know, seeking purposeful direction that could and should propel your mission within your divine journey to that next level, but still it hasn't happened. Well, my name is Lauren Michaels Harris, and I'm the founder of P3, the Journey Series. People come to me because they're wounded. Many are scared, and even there are those who are bruised simply because they feel that they are increasingly, for whatever reason, losing their ability to dream. Now, this P3 program is not for a person who's just looking to start a business, no, but rather for those of you out there who have been on your journey and you've been navigating within your divine purpose, but you still desire to elevate to that level that you have not reached yet. If this is appealing, if this describes you, then I want to have a chat with you. I want to hear your story. So use the link below to get registered for your free seat at P3, the Journey Series. And let's get started, one story at a time. I'll see you inside. Click the link. On July 4th, 1962, I found myself in the lost and found of mankind. Just because something finds its way to the lost and found doesn't mean that it wants to be there. Just because something finds its way to the lost and found doesn't mean that the person who lost it doesn't care for that lost item.
You are writing moments that people will learn from, grow from, and heal through for thousands of years. Together, we are co-authoring a unique moment in time. That DNA, those fingerprints, they're going to be gone. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. But it is your story that they will tell for thousands of years, but only if you leave it. Things that do not serve you must go. The longer you wait, the more time you give them to trick you into serving them. 22 homes in foster care, everything I wore as a scar, as a shame, things that started like Velcro on my spirit. After just a few months, then years, then decades, I had believed myself into believing that they were indelible tattoos. Sometimes we have to be broken down to appreciate the view once we start getting up. I want you to leave this place and know that you have been changed. Why? How do I know it's true? Because each of you has just changed.
Need I spell it out before you get it, baby? Show me soul. And honey, I'll show you mine. I'll show you mine. Boy, I'm standing right here holding up a sign, shamelessly displaying my state of mind. But you walk right past me, pretending like you don't see what's yours for the taking tonight.
Okay. That's the bell of purpose, because we're here on purpose. Yay. Give yourselves a round of applause. It is a beautiful day. It is. It just is a beautiful day every day that we are able to come together, fulfilling one of my favorite promises, the one that guarantees us where two or more of us comes together and we have a spirit of service to each other and we are vested in ease and healing in this world. What could be better than that, right? Right? There's the bell of purpose. Can I get an amen up in here? I'll kick it off. There's one on the screen. Listen, welcome to today's installment. Got a great show for you. I'm Dr. Lauren Michaels Harris, and I hope you had a most fantabulous weekend. We had a busy one. We, what did we do? Friday night, we stayed in. I had some work to do. And Saturday, we went to the world's largest flea market. And it was, oh my God, I was dead tired when we were finished. But it was fun. It was a lot of fun. Oh, shoot. I left a picture upstairs. I'll bring it tomorrow. I met my favorite childhood star, Mike TV from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I literally wrote him when I was a kid. And when I saw, I was like, oh, hi, Mike TV. I'm the one you never wrote back to. And because I thought he really was like, I wrote in care of Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory, and my mom pretended clearly to mail it. But anyway, it was really nice, and went bowling. My husband and I went bowling yesterday, and just chilled. I did a new thing Sunday. I started doing what's going to be a tradition. I even posted a reel about it, about making a list of 5 people that you don't just text or email. You actually pick up the phone and call. I'm hoping to get back to letter writing one day. But anyway, I did that, and it was really great to catch up and check in with people that you love. So think about doing that, won't you, please? So a couple announcements before we get today's guest, Teresa Lawrence, in. Great show. You're going to love what we're going to. And speaking of covered wagons, because she's in a literal covered wagon as we speak, Nellie Olson from Little House on the Prairie was there. My husband bought her book, right? Which is entitled, are you ready? Confessions of a Prairie Bitch. That is the literal name of her book, Nellie Olson. So anyway, it was fun. It was a great weekend. If you are in the Chicago area, August 31st and September 1st, I would just love for you to join me and a great group of entrepreneurs and speakers for the 2023 Accelerator Business Summit. It is at the wonderful Tinley Park Convention Center, and I'll be your master of ceremonies for this Road to Legacy mindset. You can find out more information on Eventbrite, or we will drink some coffee. Cheers. We're going to drop the link for the tickets. I have a discount code for you. So I think it's 30% off the ticket price. Yeah, there it is right there, scrolling along the bottom. And I'm going to drop that into the chat before we get out of here today. So that's coming up August 31st and September 1st. But if you are in the Kansas City area, that's coming up this week. I leave Thursday. We'll be there, and I'm speaking. My topic, this is my second year. They brought me back. Thank you so much, Brenda Ringwood and Terrence Leffridge, for this awesome event. It is a true experience, becoming the best you. And I will be speaking on how to set the table for global impact. So, and I'll give you a clue. It starts with a reservation of 1. Try to figure that out. Right. It's a great one. Here's a little peek at all the people that'll be there. So I will see you there. And don't forget, this Wednesday is our monthly Bathrobe Moments Meet the Experts episode, and one of the experts, there he is, D. Grant Smith, will be moderating this week. He's bringing the topic, and we're going to have a great time with all the experts. And, oh, look. Wait a minute. Oh, wait, I got this one first. Oh, and here's another thing. A month ago, we launched. I'm so excited. I've had my masterclass for 3 years, and boy, has it done so much, not only for my business, my brand, for the personal inner child healing of myself. That was the biggest piece for me, but I'm speaking about masterclasses. Yes, we have done it. We've been working on this project for 3 years and finally launched, and our first 2 candidates will be flying in this month to record 3 days each their own masterclass. We're trying to change it from being just, stars and high profile influencers to anyone who has mastered anything. I believe it to be a virtual time capsule for your intellectual content. One place to bring the story all together, all at one time, like a mini documentary. This is your life, changed my life. If you're interested, reach out to me. I'd love to show you what we're doing with that. And here is our guest for today. And she's going to be speaking, Teresa Lawrence, November 4th at the Doubletree Hotel in San Diego, California. Now we're going to pop this up a little later, but it's time to bring her in. And so I will give you okay, wait a minute. Get that out of there. Okay. Because, I mean, wow, talk about a story. Teresa Lawrence, she is, in fact, a creative visionary leader. She's dedicated to helping others reach their full potential. Now, she's an accomplished attorney, a little something there. She's a publisher and educator, as well as an entrepreneur living in, get this, Western Wyoming, hence the covered wagon, which is her office. She doesn't live in it. I know what you're thinking. No, she's not that remote. But anyway, she and one of my best friends went to Amherst College. Hello, Fred Shepard. Was just talking to him a couple days ago. And she also graduated, Teresa did, from Amherst College and also Columbia Law School. So there is, let me get her in here. But while we do, I have this while we're waiting, and she'll be, you know what? I'm not even going to do the countdown clock. I'm just going to play this.
Welcome to the Leadership of Play. Teresa Lawrence is a creative visionary. Born in Cuba and raised in the U.S., Teresa's journey has shaped her unique perspective on leadership and personal development. Her career spans law, business, education, and publishing, but her true passion lies in empowering others to embrace their creativity. From her office in the small town of Daniel, Wyoming, Teresa has built a digital platform and community united by a shared purpose: to unlock the power within each of us to make the world a better place.
Welcome to the show, Teresa.
Thank you. Thank you. I do go by Teresa.
Okay, because you never know.
I love it that you're calling me Teresa. Very empowering.
Well, I tell you what, I figure if it's on the screen or it's in their bio, go with it, because I had that happen once. I left the name off and we won't even go there. So glad you're here, and you're literally in that covered wagon. How do you have internet?
We actually use Elon Musk's Skylink. That's the only way to get it out here. I live in Daniel, Wyoming. It's a census town. The population is 109, and in the winter, everybody leaves except maybe 10 people, and there you are, my husband and I, in a covered wagon. So grateful for
That's
Elon
your
Musk
office, right?
That's my office, and I'm going to spin this around so people can see it. See, that's the stove. That's how we stay warm, or I stay warm.
Wow.
And right now, since it is bathrobe moments, I'm on the bed because the covered wagon has a bed in it, and you can pull out and have a table. But this is fabulous. Great fun. We moved to the middle of nowhere, and my creativity exploded. It's fantastic.
So how did this covered wagon make its way into your life? Was it just sitting on the side of the road, or how'd you get it?
No, we moved here. I went on a walk. There is a master craftsman named Gary Stull, and he had 2 covered wagons on his property. And I walked in and I said, "This is my office." And the ordeal, because this thing can actually be moved by horses. But he
Wow.
didn't pull it over here with horses. He actually put it on a truck and got it out here. It was fantastic. I have it all on video. I should share
That's
that one day, but
awesome.
it's phenomenal.
So what is the magic of working from that covered wagon? I mean, I'm sure the wagon has a history. Do you know the history of the wagon? Any of it?
Well, the interesting thing about this wagon is that it was handcrafted.
Mm.
I think it's on a Winnebago. Like the base is a Winnebago.
A Winnebago.
And it took, I don't know how, yeah, the base, the bottom. Like he totally restructured this. And then he found wagon wheels. Each wagon wheel was about $3,000. I mean, this is like a historical piece. And like every piece of this was handcrafted. And let me see if I can show you this. This is one of his. Can you see the bird?
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, he's a
Yes.
phenomenal craftsman. But the history of the covered wagon, I'm glad you brought that up because I have a petition online that is designed to turn the covered wagon into an imaginary nation state. And my theory is that it's very doable to get 1 million people to sign this petition because there are 1 million creative souls out there, probably millions more, that
Mm-hmm.
want to change the world and make the world a better place. And I think my vision is to do that through art, through just poetry, to get people to express who they really are.
Yeah.
And that petition is there. And once I hit 1 million signatures, I'm going to use that law skill to petition the United Nations for imaginary nation status. It's like the cutest thing. And when I go to Africa, which we'll talk about later,
Mhm.
I've written a letter to the Secretary of State for Kenya. And I'm gonna
Okay.
he signs my petition because I really think that just a, a a universal international group of creative visionaries can change the world.
I
And
agree with that.
I plan to have, digital galleries to share artwork and poetry. And ultimately my goal, you asked me where the magic happens.
Yes.
So
Oh my.
so I made that hat. It's a butterfly hat. And my
Clearly.
and my dream is to have an event each year on June 21st, the solstice, where we all dress up as butterflies. It could be virtual or it could be on a cruise ship, but the butterfly signifies transformation. And I'm on a mission to transform the world, to tell everybody, hey, you need to be who you really are. Whatever story you're running, it's not your story. It might be somebody else's story. Figure out who you are and share that truthfully with the world.
Can
And
I dress up as a cocoon in a cocoon? And
yes.
then burst out. And then I'll burst out of it.
Oh, you're so invited. Perhaps a master of ceremony role. I don't know.
Yes, you can have me laying out on the stage already in the cocoon. Oh, wouldn't it be cool? We can make it out of white cotton candy. That way I could eat my way out. I only say that because I still have carnival food in my head from that thing this weekend. So listen, let's get started. My goodness. So did you tell us how this transformation, that's the word of the day, transformation, from attorney and all of these other things, are you still actively doing that work or have you put it aside
No, I
to
have
do your
I have put it aside. I retired as a practicing attorney, and now I moved from attorney to consultant to creative visionary because the wonderful thing about attorneys is that they are put in positions where they have to create stories for their clients. They
yeah,
have to support their clients in stories, and so I've transitioned that skill to creating stories for other people and to have other people tell their true, authentic stories.
that's beautiful. So why don't we start with, I love this because it's my passion piece as well, children. Let's talk about your trueness project. Tell everybody about that.
Well, I'm an immigrant, actually a refugee. My family left Cuba um, in 1969. My father was uh, a physician, a doctor. He was teaching at the University of Havana, and he did not stand up when they were, I guess, singing the Communist National Anthem. He got reported by all of the other doctors there. He lost his job. They took away our house, everything that we owned. He got thrown in prison, and then he spent 2 years petitioning to get out of the country. And so we left Cuba with nothing, um, except the clothes on our back, and they were nice enough to let me take a doll that my grandmother had given me. And before I left, my grandmother, who's incredibly wise, or was, because she passed at 101,
Wow.
she said, "Whatever happens to you, you tell this doll your story and make sure that it always has a glorious ending. Make sure that story is powerful and you own it." And because I was, we're all scared out of our minds. We have nothing, and we couldn't come to the United States. We ended up going to Spain for a year, and my father gets his medical license to practice in the U.S. while we're in Spain, and then from Spain we get to the U.S. and there are 6 of us. I'm the youngest of 4 children.
Oh, wow.
And no one can take in 6 people. I mean,
Right.
that's just an impossibility. So we scatter to people we know who can take us. And I am, at that point, 4 years old, 3 and a half, 4 years old. I end up living with my great aunts at 95th and Broadway. I don't know who these people are, and I'm scared. I'm a child that
95th
is
and Broadway. Is that New York?
that's New York. That
Okay.
was the first place I dwelled and lived, in New
So,
York.
did you go by yourself, or was there at least one other sibling with you?
No, it was just me.
Just
We all
you
went to different places.
individually?
Yeah.
Did your parents not go somewhere as a couple, or did they have to split
No,
up?
well, they started working, and so, what people don't really get about immigrants that's so beautiful and powerful,
Mm,
they are running away from horrible situations, and in their heart, they know they deserve better, that
mhm.
they are worthy of success. And my parents were doing everything that they could to make sure we had that success. And so my dad started working, my mom started working, and then they got an apartment in Elmhurst, Queens.
Hmm.
And I wasn't old enough to go to school yet. So all of my siblings moved there, and then they started going to public school, and I stayed with my great aunts. But during that time, if my grandmother hadn't told me to share my stories with the doll, I mean, it was difficult enough because I was still scared. But
Yeah,
but that gave me the power to say, "Okay, I'm living this, but I'm writing this story. What's the story gonna be? What's the story gonna be? What's the story gonna be?"
yeah.
Because I mean, my story is a great story. I did go, we eventually moved to Scarsdale, New York, which is a posh suburb. Um, I went to Amherst College and Columbia Law School, but that part of me that wasn't American always felt like I didn't belong, and my voice I didn't want to share my voice because I didn't want anybody to know that I didn't belong, that I was different. And I I kept going back to my grandmother, and then COVID happened, and we all reassessed our lives. We moved to the middle of Wyoming. I'm in a covered wagon, and I'm like, "What am I gonna do?"
So,
And
what was that all about, Teresa? A lot of people minimalize, they downsize, they want a much less cluttered life for whatever reason. But boy, you two took it to the nth degree. Tell me what that was all about. What were you looking for in such an isolated um, homestead?
well, the truth is we enjoy being in nature. My husband is a former Eagle Scout. He loves the great outdoors. He loves camping. We love being outside. And really, if two people could have so much fun tracking animals, it's like Wild Kingdom out here, Nat Geo Wild. I mean, we
Yeah.
sit there, we look out the window, and we just have fun, and we wanted that experience. And where we lived, because we spent 20 years in Oregon, we couldn't get the land and the ability to do what we're doing here. But
Yeah.
what I didn't anticipate was moving to the middle of nowhere and being so isolated would lead to such creativity for both of us. I mean, it's like an explosion of creativity that happened, and it led to, uh, this is the book, Gloriousness,
Tell us about that.
for the Trueness Project. Well, the book is a transformational book that teaches children how to process their emotions, just like I did as a child. Because the main character Ness starts off messy because her emotions are like she doesn't understand why she's sad, and her
Yeah.
mom tells her she has to figure that out. And then she goes to her room and she works that out. She can be glorious. No, she can I mean, at the end she decides that she is gloriousness, and it's really quite cute. But in the meantime, she says, I can be limitless, I can be creativeness, I can be kindness. She goes through the whole thing to figure out that it's her
Yeah.
mindset. It's her mindset that's going to create her reality.
So
Um,
let me ask you, this character clearly based on you.
yes.
Okay. So let's talk about that inner child piece, because that's a big piece for me, you know. And it took decades for me to understand how it clicked into the whole piece of my
Right.
journey. I always thought it would be something that I would distance myself from for shame reasons and all the traumatic things that they don't leave, they grow with us, but they actually grow us into who we must be in order to be that authority to ease that particular type of suffering in the world. So now I get it, but it's different when you're the kid and you're in it. So let me ask you, where does that Teresa live within you today? See, a lot of people think it's gone. She's successful, da 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 da. But I know, and I know you know, so I want you to tell the folks watching where that Teresa lives. How often do you communicate or convene with her? I mean, the girl who witnessed the taking of everything, the momentary time of not just not having anything, but then being separated from family. Because even though it's extended, it's not everybody you've gone to sleep and woken up with all your life. The house smells different, all these things. So I know she's with you still today. Talk about how you two work together.
So that child, if you don't, so for me, I didn't know what was happening. So the story I made up in my mind was, I'm not important, I'm being abandoned. And that story, if 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 followed through, it just would have been so limiting. So it's still with me. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like I don't, it's very difficult for me to be on screen with you because the story is I'm not important enough to be heard, or and that child needs loving each and every day,
Amen.
because we are self-parenting, we are self-loving, and if we don't love ourselves, how is the rest of the world going to love us? If I'm running that story in my mind, I can't really begrudge somebody else for treating me in a way I expect to treat myself. So that child gets loved and hugged and accepted and told that she is glorious each and every day, because I deserve to be loved by myself, like all by myself. I am powerful. And I really am on a mission to teach children at a young age that they can learn to do this, because the older you are when you figure it out, it's like all these years where a story had you. You didn't have the story had you. And I really changed that mindset in children and in adults, because, I would say most adults are still running a story and they don't
Yeah.
even know they're running it.
So, okay. So the Trueness Project has been around for how long now?
The Trueness Project just and it before I was doing it, buy one book, buy a book for a child you love, and give a book to a child in need. Um,
Okay.
and I was doing that with a Give Butter campaign, but now as I'm evolving, I'm in the process of filing for nonprofit status. So
Yay.
that's gonna happen soon, like in the
Congrats.
next month. I don't know how long it takes for them to approve it.
Right.
And then my vision for this is really much bigger than the books because I've translated the books into in fact it's now available in Chinese on Amazon,
Oh,
in
wow.
Spanish and Chinese. As soon it will be in Japanese. Um, for some reason, for all you French people out there, you cannot agree on language. Every time I show it to a French person, they add a new something.
Really?
So,
I thought we
so
were banned.
excellence is key. It's coming. The French version is coming too. But my goal is to get in all these different languages because I've written like 5 books, and they're all transformational books that teach something. In fact, there's the one I was, revising one thing the other day, and it was about giving gratitude, and the child was really grateful for broccoli, and I don't like broccoli, and it just made me
Oh, I do.
laugh. It just made me laugh so much. I was like,
I've always
I am
liked
so grateful for broccoli.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
But back to the Trueness Project. So I see it. Um, I want to connect with NGOs that work with immigrant children and displaced
Beautiful.
children, because really, you've got immigrants on the border, you've got children displaced by war, you've got children displaced by COVID. I mean, it's just and then natural disasters. I mean, really, at some point last year, I was crying so much, I was just like, I got to do something. We have to do something. And I know that there are people doing things, but from my heart, I had to do this. This is something my soul is telling me I have to share with the world because I am part of them. I experienced everything that those children experience, and I feel I can help them, truly help them with the power of story
I
to
agree.
have and so I see care packages eventually happening with my books and other things, and then going all over the world. That's why I like the idea of the imaginary covered wagon state, because it gives me an opportunity to travel, to get signatures, to get creative visionaries on board, and then we go and we help. That's the point. That's why we're on the planet, to uplift
Exactly.
each other.
Exactly. I love it. I love it. There's much more to Teresa Lawrence, and we're going to get into that. Let's just start unpacking some of the best of
Yeah.
the best. Everything she does is awesome, but we've got some other things to get into. And when we return from just this brief pause for the cause, we're going to come back and talk to Teresa about her speaking. We saw where she's going to be doing some stage speaking coming up in the fall, but also we want to hear about this trip to Africa and what she hopes to gain from that. That and a lot more. Great time to share out the broadcast. Don't you dare go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back to today's installment of Bathrobe Moments. Going to get our guest, Teresa Lawrence, back in here in just a moment. But you just saw a clip, show opener for a new show that just premiered last Monday. Today will be their second episode, Behind the Music. You can find it at e360tv.com. Go down to the Thriving Women's Network and click on Behind the Music. Thank you so much for sponsoring Behind the Music. Thank you. Get over and check out all the great programming on e360tv.com and also on the Trajectory Network found on e360tv.com. Teresa, welcome back. So
Thank you.
you're going to be speaking so tell us what's it like. Give us a little Reader's Digest experience, if you will, of when people are in the audience, when you're speaking on the stage. What is your primary focus when you're keynoting?
Well, my theme and my brand is the leadership of play. And I think there are leaders hidden in all of us, and it takes playfulness to bring it out. So at some point, I will be speaking, and we will all turn into little squirrels. We will all turn into.
Oh, will we now?
Yes, we will. And the music, like they'll know when to do it because there'll be a cue, and we'll all be shape-shifting into animals and doing our thing. Because in the leadership of play, I get people to go outside of their comfort zone, because in that comfort zone, that old story is running. You get outside of that comfort zone by going, woo, woo, woo.
Oh my God. And I can imagine that's an uncomfortable thing I bet everyone looks around to see, is anybody going to do it? You know what I mean? Or because a lot of us are so concerned with what we look or sound like to other people. I don't want to make a fool out of myself. What are people going to think? I don't want to be judged. So what happens after they've gone into this metamorphosis, if you will, of some type of animal? You bring them back, and what happens?
Laughter. Genuine laughter and joy, and a feeling of, hey, it's okay. Everybody else is doing it. It's okay for me to go outside of my comfort zone. It's okay for me to explore what if I tried this? Because part of the process is, if it's play, it's okay to try new things. If it's, I'm scared of this and I need to do this to push through the fear, it's a lot harder than calling it the leadership of play. We're playing. We're exploring possibilities.
I
It's
love
safe.
play.
It's safe when you're playing. When you're in the playground, you try new things. Oh wow, can I reach that point in the jungle gym? Can I
Yeah.
swing? Can I do this or that other thing? If you call it play, it just makes it so much easier for people to do silly things. And not everybody is comfortable with this. I've had people, this is the truth. I've had people call me and say, I don't know what you're doing, but I don't like it. And I don't want to be involved with you. I mean,
Oh.
this is true. This has happened because they want the old me, the one that wouldn't speak out and wouldn't go for
Oh.
her vision, her truth, her goals. And I'm not that person anymore. And I'm not going to go back to make them feel comfortable.
Exactly.
I don't
Exactly.
care if I look stupid in front of you. It's, I'm doing my thing.
See, what I think about when I envision you doing that with your audience is that it challenges people on a different level. See, a lot of people realize, and we hear it all the time, oh yeah, she just doesn't know when to say no. But so many of us are also at the same time guilty of not knowing when to say yes. It's for something like that. Oh, I don't know. That kind of thing. And back to the thing about play. I am with you 1,000,000%. Not only do I love to play, I have toys everywhere down here, upstairs, and tons of games. But when I can't play, say in the middle of my day, especially in the summer when the kids are not in school, I love to just go out on my deck, close my eyes, turn my back to the direction of where they're at, and just listen and imagine what they're doing. And it's so healing. I really believe it's true. Laughter is one of the best medicines. So, how important do you think, Teresa, the ability to get out of your comfort zone and also be able to embrace the spirit, the essence of play? How important is that to a true global leader?
I think that life begins outside the comfort zone. You know,
Oh, I like
a leader is constantly learning, constantly embracing new
not
opportunities.
afraid of people watching you learn.
Exactly. You
You
know,
know, you don't have to disappear and like move. Here's a weird one. Can you imagine somebody like moving all the way to the some desolate area where I don't know 109 people live? I mean, oh wait, I'm sorry. Oh my goodness, I forgot that's what you did. No, but I do want to ask you this. I want to ask you this. When you return to civilization, like for instance, when you go in November to speak, when you step back into that world that is on warp speed, is that kind of overwhelming? Are you like, oh my God, I can't wait to get back to my solace?
no, no, no. You're so funny. It's everybody asks me the same thing. I so I think we create our reality. So what we think creates our reality, and I am so comfortable in community. I really love people, whether it's one person or a million people. When I set foot in New York, I am a consummate New Yorker. I love my Fifth Avenue. I love my museums. I love my Brooklyn. I am like all over the place in New York. And when I go anywhere, I'm just like, okay, where's the best food? I enjoy culture. I enjoy people. In fact, at Amherst, I majored in anthropology, and my son kept saying, "So, what is that useful for?" I said, "It's useful to understand people and culture and what moves them and what passions they have. Because once you know that, then you can work with them. It's just so." I enjoy traveling and I enjoy solitude because I have decided
Yeah,
that I'm going to enjoy life wherever it is. Like,
exactly. There it is.
I'm not gonna begrudge the fact that I'm here or I'm somewhere else. I'm just going to enjoy where I am in the moment.
Perfect. This is a great time to introduce this. I'm glad you're here because I just did a reel a couple hours ago about the quality of life and how a lot of us, when we talk or speak to quality of life, we jump ahead in the future to the golden years or whenever it is. Um, and we think about quality of life meaning a thing or a place. I want to live in Florida. I want to, I want to live where it's warm. I want to be on water. I want to be able to play golf. But how important is the ideal of being cognizant of perpetual transformation? Because my big thing is the most important piece, the cue in quality of life for me is the person I'm forced to live with when I've got a lot of time on my hands. I mean, I don't want to have a bunch of stuff and be a miserable person locked inside of the only thing that isn't stuff, me, the living, breathing version of me. So the power of transformation, people think they understand it. We think we hear that. Oh, I know all that already. Tell us a few things from your experience that you speak to people about that they may not hear everywhere about the power of transformation and how to use it effectively.
I believe that transformation is a lifestyle. Once you embrace it, it is a beautiful way to roll. Because I got to, I've been through the whole trajectory. I mean, I've started projects and they've failed, and I've gone like, oh, it's that person's fault, or it's that person's fault, or it's that person's fault. So I've gone through the blame game until I figured out it's not anybody's fault. I'm creating my own reality. That's transformation. That's learning that you are responsible for everything that happens in your life. So why not make it fabulous? I mean, things happen, but if you're responsible for it, you have to figure out a way to deal with it. When you go around blaming people, it doesn't help anybody. When you're going around being jealous of people, that doesn't help anybody unless
Right.
you're using it as motivation to make yourself better. Pain, when you hit pain or
Yeah.
failure, it's a chance to reflect and say, okay, what am I learning from this? What's happening inside of me that's creating this? And then you pivot and you say, okay, I've learned from this. I'm going to move in this direction and I'm going to grow from this experience.
Do
Thank
you
you.
think a lot of people, I'm sorry, do you think a lot of people are a little impatient when it comes to true transformation? Like, I want it now. Oh, she was there too. Veruca from the Bad Egg. I want it now, Daddy. She was there too, right? Okay, I'm having all these flashbacks to Saturday. But really, do you feel, are you of the opinion that if people would just be a little more patient with themselves as far as transformation, just like when people do diets and stuff, every day they're getting on a scale or looking, I don't see any change, and then they quit. How long is there a time frame? How
No,
does it work? How does a person know when they're really inside of that magic known as active transformation?
it is a lifestyle. It's an everyday event. You are creating what you're creating today. You're the best version of yourself today, and you're going to be a better version of that tomorrow. It's like you exercise one day and you expect to lose 5 pounds and then it's over. No, exercise is a lifestyle.
Yeah,
It's part of the whole package of health. Uh, and at least it is for me. It may not be for somebody else.
right.
You know, somebody else's
But to be
perfect version.
effective, anything that you really, that I believe this, that we want to
Mm.
really be to be effective and to affect the world, we cannot have a shared custody agreement with it. It can't be a hobby where you pick it up and throw it down every other weekend, holidays, that kind of thing. So let's talk about with you when, because this is a part that a lot of people need to know is a possibility. When you start transforming, what's the litmus test? How do I know? Well, like what you said, Teresa, when people call you and say, I don't like what you're doing and I don't want to be a part of it. See, to me, that's always been a sign that I am outgrowing my current circumstances. Because no, and the thing is, the people that do that to me or have done that to me, what I found out later, Teresa, was that they simply didn't enjoy watching themselves be left behind. Because I kept stretching, I kept risking, I kept going so I could keep growing. And you got to keep growing. That means that you're continually knowing, and after you know it, you show it to other people as an authority. So what about when those people came back and said, basically, I'm breaking up with you, I want a divorce, I don't like what you're doing? Did you ever second guess yourself or feel like, oh no, what's happening, this isn't what I chose?
I would say the old me was very people pleasing and would want to stay small. The current version of me, which you have on your show, I'm going to shine bright because it's my birthright to do that. I may not know how to shine my brightest now, but I'm on a trajectory to shine bright and to help other people shine as brightly. And I really want to help people shine. And simply because I'm shining doesn't mean that the naysayers, the people that are upset with my movement, don't get to shine as well. They have to do the work. That's the point. We
What's it
all
feel like? What's it feel like when someone you thought you knew doesn't get it? How do you not take it personally, Teresa, so that you can keep going?
I took it. It hurt. It honestly, I was just like, what have I done?
Yeah.
I mean, really, I was just like, okay, I'm creating my reality. Everything that happens is me. What did I do to create this? And my answer was I evolved. And there's nothing I can do that's going to, like, I am not in control of their emotions, of other people's emotions.
Right.
That's one of our superpowers. We get to control our emotions. We get to control our thoughts. And once we figure that out, life just gets easier. I mean, but these things happen and you have to process those emotions because it hurts, especially when you love someone and you've worked with them for a while,
Yeah,
and you want them to grow with you, but it's a personal choice
I
whether you
agree.
want to grow or not.
I
And
agree.
so I'm just going to keep going because I have to.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now you're a brilliant woman. Tell me, in your world, do you see feelings and emotions as synonymous? Are they the same thing or are they different?
Um, that's a really good question. And I don't have an answer to that because in my mind, I was like, are they different? Are they the same? What is he talking about? Ooh, that's really powerful, right? And then I went back to, well, my thoughts are creating my emotions. And the emotions, the more emotions I have, create even more emotions. So it's like a loop. So your question actually created like this, like
I know. That's why I love that question. I love that question because I ask myself that question when I'm in the middle of something, trying to decide if I'm making an emotional decision or having an emotional reaction. And what I always go to is that no one's ever said, "Oh, you hurt my emotions," but they have said you hurt my feelings. And so,
oh,
which triggers an emotion. Because remember, I know you do. Okay, the inner child in us, and we all have them. Um, Remember when you were a kid and you saw something, you experienced something, and it felt like something kicked you in the stomach?
yep.
Remember that? I mean, it was a literal physical response. Just, I remember it. I have not had that as an adult. And I wonder if it lives inside that brief magical place known as childhood. But I remember it like someone literally hit me in the stomach when my feelings were hurt about something. So you remember that, right?
I do.
Talk about that.
I I feel people. There are people, and when you're children, you're like this huge sponge, right? It's
Yeah.
and children are so magical and they're so powerful, and everything that happens, they're absorbing. Even if you don't think they're paying
Oh
attention
yeah.
to it, they know what's going on,
Yes.
and adults have forgotten what it's like to be a child in that magic, so some people just don't get it. But when you experience that, it's and you viscerally feel it, you've got to get that stuff out of you because it is the not only did you process the experience, you process the emotions, and now they're in your mind and they're in your cellular memory. When you said kicked in the stomach, I said, not only do I remember that, I remember sitting and crying like a
Mhm.
crazy person to get that stuff out of me.
Yes, me too.
So,
That heaving, crying.
yes.
Yeah. And I believe that's when empathy started to become a
Mm.
very good friend of mine. Because I would never fight kids as a kid, but I would fight for another kid.
Mm,
I couldn't fight for myself, but somehow I didn't like watching people get bullied. And so it's all those kind of things. But I'll tell you this. I look at, because when people say, "You're 61, what are you doing with all these toys and stuff?" Uh, because I never took that wrench and shut the valve completely on lockdown of the magic of childhood. I've always kept it open so that a little bit of that magic can drip out. I leave that spigot open. I leave it open. Why? For one reason, there's no shortage of things that make you cry in this world. But I got to really look often in many days. I got to really search for something to smile or laugh about. Or laugh about. I smile all the time, but to laugh about, I mean one of those good ones. Where you're like, stop, stop, I'm gonna pee. Stop, I can't take it. I can't breathe. Leave me alone. Go. I can't. That kind of stuff. And I believe, and so I'm constantly monitoring and this is what I love about your work. about monitoring that it's always available, no matter what, no matter what. So what do you tell kids about warnings about turning into one of those bitter, old, dried up, pessimistic, jaded adults that we all know are so many around? Do you give them any warnings or any suggestions to make sure they hold on to a little of that magic that they have right now in the moment of childhood?
I would never tell a child what they're going to become or what they should be or what they should be scared of or not scared of. I would tell a child to go out and be as creative and as crazy and as imaginative as they could be. And if they fail, fabulous. I'm going to applaud their failure and say, okay, what have you learned here? Let's go do it again. It's not a shutdown moment. It is an expand moment. That's how we learn.
That's absolutely right. You all, look at this. 2 roads are on the screen currently that both lead directly to Teresa Lawrence and all of her great work. Up top, you can go to the website, mteresalawrence.com, or also check out the nonprofit, yourtrueness@gmail.com. Send an email, and Teresa will reach out to you, and you can continue the conversation. Perhaps there's a way that you can pour into this, support it, and help these kids live a life of transformative beauty. Teresa, if you would like, right now is your Jerry Springer moment where you can just turn to the folks. And I always say this, if people were to forget everything you said here today and you could hope that they would remember one piece, what piece would you feel would be the most important for the audience to take away?
My one piece would say, wake up each day, be grateful that you're here, be grateful for everything around you, and choose to be glorious because you are worthy of shining.
That's so awesome. Well, cue the Carol Burnett show music. I'm so glad we had this time together. So I really am. I love what you're doing. I love your covered wagon. I love your imagination world and everything in it. And the Trueness project is incredible, just like you. Thank you so much for all you do. Hang out for a moment backstage. I want to say goodbye properly to you. And right now, I want to say goodbye to you as well properly. I want to thank you for fulfilling that promise that 2 or more of us, when we come together, spiritual magic comes out the other side. And look, it happened again. I hope you will join me tomorrow, God willing, out front on the front porch, where together we'll come together and have another illuminated conversation. A great week to be alive, a great day to be alive, a great moment to be alive. Live in the now. It's truly all we have. Get out of here and find your highest self today. And remember, as I say every day in closing, I love you with everything within me. And there's not a damn thing you can do about it. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye, everybody. Thank you so much. Great job. Great job, Teresa. Bye-bye.
Show me your soul. Baby, I'll show you mine. Show me your soul. Honey, it's way past time. How expensive do I have to be? Need I spell it out before you get it, baby? Show me your soul. And honey, I'll show you mine. I'll show you mine. Boy, I'm standing right here holding up a sign, shamelessly displaying my state of mind.